Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Mr. Adayo Bets. In today's video, we are going to be discussing about the steps and the criteria that are required in predicting over 1.5 goals. Actually, over 1.5 goals happens to be one of the common strategy in football, and this particular strategy, I'm going to put you guys through the step-by-step process of how you can effectively make use of it. Sometimes when you are able to pick 1.5 games, you can get a very high desired odd on it, as you guys can see on the screen. This particular odd happens to be 310 something odd, but probably I just applied flexibility on it, and that is the reason why you are seeing the potential winning like this. So one thing about it is that, as we all know, that not all strategies are 100% accurate. So I don't want you guys to have it in mind that okay, your strategies will always be 100%. You can never get that in betting because anything changes, and we also face some issues and problems concerning manipulation of game outcome. There are some people that always promise most of all these bettors fixed games. We have people that always promise us fixed games. There's nothing like actually there's something like fixed games, but actually those kind of information can also leak out if actually truly, but people are already abusing it and they are making use of it as a scam. But I don't think fixed game is actually very common like that, but it is also part of the things that can affect your outcome of the game. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how you can effectively predict over 1.5 games using these particular simple steps. Now, without wasting much of our time, we are going to go to our sports menu, where we are going to be having our prediction done. So, for example, I'll be picking some games as for teaching this particular strategy in this video, and I'm going to make you. I want you guys to please follow the steps from the start to the beginning so that you won't miss any important or vital details containing it. So guys, let's start with this particular Bundesliga match, the match between Stuttgart and Bayern. Actually, the first thing I always do if I want to predict my games, and if I'm not following the blind steps of prediction, I always make use of the stats. This particular stat helps me in having access to data of their previous meeting, their previous games with other teams, and the previous meeting with each other. Please, I want you guys to pay a very good, close attention to these particular steps. There are two ways I use in predicting my over 1.5 goals. There was a particular one which happens to be one of my oldest style of predicting over 1.5 goals, but you know as times changes, sport betting is dynamic and things changes in it. So I always develop new things. So the first steps, which happens to be the old strategy that we some of our audience are aware of or are familiar with, is making use of the head-to-head new. So this head-to-head new provide you with some statistics and data and percentage of some markets, or let me say some important information about those two teams that want to play together. Now, this is where I'm talking about. If you check this place very well, you are going to get access to the average percentage of their performance. Now, for example, we have the goal scored. This is not measured with percentage, but I think in just a figure. And we have the both team to score, which happens to show us our 58%. Now, another part that I want you guys to focus on is the over 1.5 percentage. It's going to show you guys the percentage of the over 1.5 that they always played with each other, and the percentage of the over 1.5 that they played in the league. Now we have the over 2.5 percentage, which happens to be 79% with each other and 61% under the league. So many more like that. Now if I want to predict my over 1.5, most times the over 1.5 percentage, the average over 1.5 percentage must be around 80% and above. 80% and above. Whenever I have something like this, I always go for over 1.5. prediction, that is over 1.5 goals. But of recent, I discovered that this thing is not enough to be able to effectively win your games very well, because it is just based on the percentage and data provided by the bookmakers. But actually, it can also help you to validate the new method, the new strategy of over 1.5. Now, this is the new method of over 1.5. As you guys can see that this particular games, I predicted it as over 1.5 already in one of my tickets, because using the new strategy and applying the old strategy, checking the percentage and the average total point or total percentage of the over 1.5, I was able to realize that okay, the outcome of this particular game is supposed to be over 1.5, but we are not the almighty that knows everything, but the normal outcome of this game happens to be over 1.5. Now let us move on to the new strategy, where I'm going to put you guys through some things and some secrets, you know secret of back to back winning of over 1.5. Go back to your head to head. So we have to go back to our head to head, and this is where I'm going to show you the 4 steps, where I make use of the form, the last previous meeting with the home teams, and the last previous meeting with other teams, and the last previous meeting with each other. And if I want to make use of this, I always make sure that they've at least fulfilled the factors that I need in them at least 80% in their last 5 games, because I always make use of last 5 games for my analysis. Now, the first thing that you need to look into is the form of the 2 teams that you want to predict. There are some situations that you don't need to look at the form, but there are some situations that you need the form. But in this particular situation, the form actually happens to be happens to be the additional attribute of reason why I'm going to predict this particular game as over 1.5. Now, if you check the form very well, these 2 teams, they are both in form. At least the home team is having 53% of form, which is above average of 50%, and same thing as the away team, who is having 87% of form, that is winning and draw in total, and that give us the total form of 87%. Now, good. Now, checking the last 5 games with the home team, for the home team, checking the last 5 games with with other teams. If you check it very well, I told you guys that I always do my things as 80%. At least they must have played over 1.5 in their last 4 games. 80% of over 1.5 in the last 4 games. The 80% of over 1.5 means that they must have played 4 games out of their last 5 games as over 1.5. And if you check it very well, most of their game ended up in over 1.5 and even over 2.5 self. But except in this particular match with Borussia Dortmund, that the game ended up in 1-0. So the same thing goes with the away team. In their last 5 games, they had over 1.5 in 80% of their game. The 80% means the 4 out of their last 5 games, and most of it ended up in over 2.5 and the other ended up in over 1.5. But unfortunately, we had just 1 game out of the last 5 games, which happens to be with, I think, Arsenal. Or let me check. Yes, Arsenal. The match ended up in 1-0. 1-0. Now, moving on to their last previous meeting, the first segment that I applied my strategy on is their form. I first look at their form, but sometimes I don't always consider that factors sometimes, because there are some teams that they are not in form, and when they play with each other, the game ended up in over 1.5 and even over 2.5 sometimes. Now, moving on to the second segment, which happens to be their last 5 games with other teams. The criteria for that place is that they must have played 80% of their last 5 games as over 1.5, and fortunately it came out so well. Now, moving on to the last chapter, the final segment. This is the final segment that you are going to conclude if you are going to predict the game as over 1.5 goals. So now, the first thing that you need to look into is very very simple. Just look at this and check if we are able to get 80% of their games as over 1.5. Unfortunately, we can see that even 100% of their last 5 games ended up in over 1.5. But the first one here I'm seeing is 3-0. I'm seeing another one which is 1-2, and I'm seeing another one 2-2, another one 2-2, and another one 0-5. So it gave us a total of 100% over 1.5 in the last 5 games with each other. It's a very simple strategy. Now, this particular game has qualified for us to predict as over 1.5. If you want to validate your strategy using the new over 1.5 strategy, you can just go to their head-to-head new and check the percentage of their average percentage of over 1.5. For me, if I want to follow the percentage process, I always go for over 80% and above. But I don't think the percentage is enough, but you can apply it as a validation of your analysis. Now let us check the odd provided by the bookmakers for this particular market. So in predicting over 1.5 goals, the bookmakers only offer 1.12 odd. 1.12 odd. Wow. 1.12 odd for over 1.5 goals. But there is one thing I want you guys to know also. There is a way that you can know the possible, or let me say the percentage, or the possible outcome that the bookmakers think. Most of us, we always see odd. Like when we see odd, we see some odd and we are like, okay, the odd is too small, the odd is too big. There are percentage of probability that are attached to the odd allocated to each market. Now let me show you something. The odds the bookmakers are providing for the over 1.5 is 1.12, and let us see the percentage or the probability percentage of the outcome of over 1.5 now. In one of my video earlier, I explained the probability attached to the odd allocation to some markets that people are not really aware of. I'm going to show you guys now. After doing our analysis on over 1.5 goals and the odd the bookmakers are allocating to the market of over 1.5 of the match between Stuttgart and Bayern happens to be 1.12 odd. Now this is how you are going to get the probability percentage of that. You just type 1 on your calculator divided by 1.112, which is the odd for the over 1.5 of the match between Stuttgart and Bayern. Now you multiply it by 100. Then the total figure that we are able to get now is 89. That is 89% probability that the game can end up as over 1.5. But you know what? We are having 11% that the game might end up as under 1.5. So that 11 points sometimes can cut our game. So that is just betting for you. So when you use a strategy and the strategy is not always 100%, please take note of that, because the bookmakers are also applying probability of the game might end up as under 1.5 as 11, but we have the high probability that the game will end up as over 1.5 goals. But because when the strategy is already 100%, definitely we are not having any odds on that. So that's how betting works. It's all about knowledge and sometimes luck. Or don't let me say sometimes, most times luck and sometimes knowledge. So thanks for watching, guys. But if you want us to have a more, or let me say another example of this on this particular channel, don't worry, we are going to be making use of this particular strategy to pick, or probably maybe I'll be making use of it to drop daily 2 odds on this particular channel. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video content. If you have anything that you guys want us to discuss about on this particular channel, please drop it on the comment section. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like our video. If you are just joining, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching. See you. Bye.